The MCU has certainly taken a darker turn in 2022. Not only is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness the first MCU horror movie, now we're about to meet the MCU's first serial killer supervillain. Thor Love and Thunder will introduce former Batman Christian Bale as Gorr the God Butcher. The sequel unites Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman's versions of Thor as they embark upon a harrowing cosmic adventure to uncover the mystery of the God Butcher's vengeance and stop him before it's too late. Luckily, we don't need to venture on any epic quest because we read the Thor comics on which Love and Thunder is based. Join us for a deep dive into Gorr's twisted history as a Marvel villain and why he definitely lives up to the God Butcher name. There's a reason Gorr is called the God Butcher. This vindictive alien is basically a serial killer who only targets gods. Once a happy, humble family man, Gorr was forced to watch his family be taken from him. Because his prayers for salvation went unanswered, Gorr decided that all gods are unworthy of the love and devotion they receive from their worshippers. To prove it, he's devoted his long life to systematically ridding the universe of all gods. That includes Thor, the one god who once tussled with the God Butcher and lived to tell the tale. On his own, Gorr is an alien with no remarkable abilities to speak of, aside from a well-honed talent for torture and interrogation. But after coming into possession of an ancient weapon called All Black the Necro Sword, Gorr gained immortality and a host of other powers, like enhanced strength, speed, durability, regeneration, and flight. Gorr can even use the sword to create razor-sharp constructs or living minions he calls Black Berserkers. Gorr's main weakness is that he's dependent on his sword for his power. That, along with his deeply buried self-loathing streak, eventually proved to be his undoing. Gorr is a relatively recent addition to Thor's Rogues Gallery, first appearing in 2012's Thor God of Thunder #1. That series marks the start of writer Jason Aaron's long and highly influential Thor saga, a saga which also deals with Jane Foster inheriting the mantle of Thor. The series establishes Gorr as a once ordinary alien driven to madness by the deaths of his wife and children. He's then exiled by his fanatically religious tribe after denying the existence of gods, but after wandering the wastelands and witnessing a battle between two powerful gods, Gorr comes to an epiphany. He decides that if gods do exist but fail to respond to the prayers of their worshippers, then they don't deserve to live. After claiming All Black the Necro Sword from the body of the loser in that fight, Gorr gains incredible powers and begins a long crusade to murder every god in the universe. That quest eventually brings him to Earth during the Middle Ages, where he captures a young Thor and tortures him for information about the gods of Asgard. Thor escapes and wounds Gorr, believing himself to have ended the threat permanently. Instead, Gorr resurfaces in the present, forcing Thor to unite with his young, Viking-age self and an older Thor from the far future to battle an existential threat to all gods. Gorr enslaves numerous gods and forces them to build a doomsday weapon called the God Bomb, one which would detonate across time and eliminate every god in one stroke. However, Gorr proves to be his own worst enemy. He creates a construct of his dead son Agar, who denounces his father's cruelty and labels him the god of hypocrisy. Agar gives Thor the power to withstand the God Bomb blast, and Thor uses the power of 2 Mjolnirs to end the threat of Gorr once and for all. Even after his death, Gorr's influence continues to be felt in the Marvel Universe. Gorr planted seeds of doubt in Thor's mind, forcing him to question whether gods truly are as noble and benevolent as they seem. Nick Fury seizes on that doubt in 2014's Original Sin, telling Thor Gorr was right and rendering the God of Thunder so disillusioned that he's no longer able to lift Mjolnir. The act paves the way for Jane Foster to inherit Mjolnir and become the new Thor. Only very recently has Thor regained his hammer and his self-confidence. Gorr even returns in the far future to renew his feud with Allfather Thor. Only by working together are Thor and Loki able to stop the God Butcher from enslaving the entire universe. Ultimately, Gorr is destroyed and resurrected as an ordinary mortal, free to live out the rest of his days in peace. And while Gorr is gone, his sword remains. Recent Marvel stories have revealed All Black the Necro Sword was forged by Null, the god of symbiotes like Venom and Carnage. Null has been waging war against the Celestials and other powerful cosmic beings since the Big Bang, seeking a return to a time when existence was nothing but an endless black void. In his own way, Gorr was helping to further Null's agenda. 10 years after his first comic book appearance, Gorr will make his MCU debut in Thor Love and Thunder, played by none other than former Batman Christian Bale. Love and Thunder is heavily inspired by Aaron's Thor comics, as it both features Gorr as its main villain and sees Natalie Portman's Jane Foster become a hammer-wielding thunder goddess of her own. Only time will tell exactly how closely Bale's Gorr is sticking to the source material, as Marvel Studios has kept the villain shrouded in mystery leading up to the film's release. Gorr's appearance has definitely changed in the translation from page to screen. His distinctive head tails are gone, and his skin has a rough, almost statue-like texture that makes him seem frozen in time. We also don't know if Gorr's origin story will be tied to Null in the MCU. Cate Blanchett's Hela also wielded a sword that looked a lot like All Black in Thor Ragnarok, so Gorr may be getting his power from her instead. There's no indication that Love and Thunder will introduce older and younger versions of Thor as in the comics. Instead, the two Thors will team up with Tessa Thompson's King Valkyrie and Taika Waititi's Korr to battle the God Butcher. Given that Jane is battling cancer and risks her life every time she lifts Mjolnir and becomes a goddess, her self-sacrifice may be the key to making Gorr see reason. Are you excited for Gorr to make his MCU debut? Let us know what you think of the God Butcher in the comments below, and for all things MCU, make sure to subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch.
So this is my vow. All gods will die.